emotional attachment to all stages of the company and all different, places of it. So all that being said, I do have a master's degree in marriage and family therapy. So some of the things you might hear me say, it's not just some random guy's advice or feedback or suggestions sitting in his living room on a Saturday. It also comes from professional experience. I'm also a licensed advanced alcohol and drug counselor. So for all of you guys and girls who are here struggling with addictions, I have worked specifically in that field for an extended period of time now. And for those of you who don't care about the professional side and you just want to know who the person is speaking to you, I've also been clean and sober since June 13th of 2008. So in about a month here, I'll be taking 13 years sober, which is fucking just absurd to me. It doesn't make sense to me, but there I am, and here we are. So hopefully my personal experience, hopefully my professional experience, and hopefully the fact that I'm committed to, the phase of your life recovery right now is enough to kind of allow you to be open-minded enough to listen to a few things I got to say to you, and maybe it might resonate with you. So all that being said, today I'm going to talk about 7 steps, 7 keys, 7 tips, whatever you want to call it, that will help you create changes that will last. Okay. And this doesn't come just strictly from me. It comes from a psychology article that I read that I think was pretty badass. So I've paramified it, if you will. So I've added some things to it. But for the most part, this is going to help. And I know every single one of you watching this right now, there is an area in your life that you are trying to change. I mean, yeah, the obvious, the elephant in the room is you were dying with drugs and alcohol and addiction and impaired mental health before coming here. And that's what you're trying to change. That's number one. I get it. That was my reason too. June 12th, 2008, I came out of a hospital, overdosed on multiple different substances and, suicide, death wish, that kind of stuff like that. So my primary reason was my mom. My secondary reason was because I, just didn't want to die of addiction. But then you get in and it's like, oh shit, there's all these different areas in my life that I got to make changes in, right? It's not just the addiction part. The addiction is one part of it that's really effed up, but I really got to address other things. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. I'm all about personal development, all about helping you get in a better mindset after getting off this call today. So the first thing to know is always that making changes in life, it seems like a really daunting task. Like if you are a certain way in your life right now, some of you, by the way, which is sad, have resigned to the fact of like, this is who I am. This is what I'll be. This is it. And I hope if there's one thing you get out of this talk is to realize how false that limiting belief is, right? You have no idea who you are. You have no idea what you're capable of. You have no idea what you can achieve in life. And you might think that I'm just kind of using some fluff words and stuff like that. It's absolute truth, man, because the practicing addict or alcoholic and the sober addict or alcoholic are two opposite ends of the human experience. So if you've been living on one side of the human experience, it's safe to say that you don't know what's on the other side, right? Same way, like when I got sober, dude, like I didn't know 13 years ago my life was going to be like this. So if someone would have told me, hey, you have no idea who you are, I would have been like, fuck, yeah, I do. No, I didn't, man. I really didn't. So even though making it to treatment is hard, like the journey people like us have to go through to get into treatment is hard. The price of admission, if you will, is really, really costly. It took a lot of damage to our soul and our self-esteem and our spirit. And we did some things that we weren't really too proud or fond of, or, we hurt some people that we kind of wish we didn't hurt. And we were hurt in the process. We're survivors of trauma, if you will, a lot of us. But going to rehab, man, is just the beginning of the process. Like this isn't the end game. Like you guys just didn't make it here just to make it here. This isn't it. This is where it starts. Like joining the gym is the easiest thing in the world to do, by the way. Like joining a gym, even now that COVID restrictions are gone, like anyone can go to a gym. You just go there and say, hey, I want to be a member of your gym. They'll sign you up, right? Starting a diet on Monday is easy as shit. Anyone can say, hey, this weekend, I'm just going to pig out one last time. And when Monday comes around, I'm going to start eating clean, whatever that definition is you have for yourself. So in a month from now, when the sun is out and people are going to the beach, I feel more confident in my skin. I mean, that's the easy part, right? It doesn't take much effort to crack open a book or listen to a podcast. It really doesn't. You go to online, go to Amazon, go to Barnes and Noble and go look at the most motivating book you can find and purchase it. It takes you 2 seconds to do it, right? and it'll come to your house. Like starting things in starting things is easy, right? Leaving rehab and maintaining the motivation you have to remain clean and sober, to stay on the path, to balance your mental health, that shit's hard. That's where people fall off. Going to the gym after you sign up is another thing, right? You know, in gym memberships, the total amount of gym memberships in a year, only 20% of all of the members actually use their gym membership more than 2 to 3 times a week. That's it. 2 to 3 times a week, only 20%. 1 out of 5 only go at least twice a week. The rest don't even show up. By Wednesday, if you start dieting on Monday, you're like, oh, fuck it, I've already ate this thing. I already ate that there. I might as well just eat this too. Like maintaining a healthy nutritional plan is hard. Clicking open, this one makes sense. Clicking on the next one, the next episode, the next episode, the next episode on Netflix, that shit is easy. Turning the page, turning the page, turning the page in the book that you bought from Amazon, that is hard, right? So if you fall into this category that I'm talking about, listen to this talk. Maybe it's got some tips for you to say, okay, yo, this is what I got to change in my life because I need to start making changes in my life. Because if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. And for some of you, that might be enough. But I know sure as hell when I got clean and sober, what I had wasn't enough, right? Some of you are living in Southern California now. It's like one of the most expensive parts of in the world. You got to level up, man. And even if you want to go back home, you still got to level up. You know, it's the version of you that you are right now is not the version of you that needs to sustain in order to maintain the recovery you have. I promise you that. So some quotes to consider before I start. It says, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. Okay, so if you're looking at someone that's excellent in life, I don't know what you mean by that definition, but it could be someone like musically, it could be someone with athletics, it could be someone with business, it could be someone in recovery. I promise you that they repeatedly do whatever it is that you admire them for. Like whatever you look up to someone in, whatever you're like, damn, that person's really got it together. He or she is the shit. You want to know why? Because when you're not watching, they're practicing and repeating that same thing that you look up to. You know, they say the public praises us for what we do in private, right? The public praises us for what we do in private. Habits are automated behaviors we do every day. Like if someone tells me, hey, this is where I am in life, I don't just say, oh, this is just where you landed. I'm like, all right, show me what you did yesterday, last week, last month. Show me what you did last week, last month. And I'm pretty sure I can find out why you are where you are in life, right? We don't just randomly end up at a destination. It's a direct correlation with the actions we've taken in the previous days to get to there. Always, 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 always. Not just in addiction, guys. Not just, oh, my addiction led me to sober living. 6 months from now, a year from now, it's going to be, okay, what actions led me to where I am? It's going to be the same exact correlation. The only thing missing is going to be probably substances if you abstain from them. Building habits requires time and patience. I talked about patience last week, man, just pounded it home because it's like so underestimated, undervalued. We're the popcorn, we're the microwave generation, we're the instant gratification generation. Even by the way, if you're not from this generation, you've evolved into that, right? Even if you're from a previous generation and, you know, technology and all this stuff wasn't a part of your upbringing, you've morphed into it, by the way. You know, every time you click on Amazon Prime and you're waiting, you know, you can't wait 2 days for your box to arrive. There you are, you know. Building them requires time. And once they stick, you can achieve almost everything. So this is how important this is, man. Like, how bad do you want what you want in life? And are you willing to build some habits to get there? I know I am. I'll tell you guys that. I'm like a machine. So step one, there's 7 of them. Step 1 says own your own change. So own your change. Own it like it's yours. You know, I understand some of us come into recovery and sobriety for someone else. I get it. You know, Heath watching this came in for his daughter. I came in for my mom. Some of you are coming in for the court. Some of you are coming in for the spouse. Some of you are coming in for your kids. Some of you are coming in for the judge. I don't know what the hell the reason is, but whatever you want to change in life, you have to own it. Judy Garland, which is a cool actress that I respect, she said, always be a first-rate version of yourself, not a second-rate version of someone else. You know, just like be authentic, man. Be true to you. So what's your why? That's what you got to do, man. I'm telling you, if you get off this talk, you got to go sit down in a journal and write down, what is my why? Why the hell am I doing this? Why am I trying to make changes in life? Why now? Why am I doing this now? Why am I not doing this later? If you ask the question why to yourself a bunch of times in a row, there's something in business called a root cause analysis. Okay. So if any of you guys are interested in business, if you ever, get a business degree and you're working as a consultant with a big company and something goes wrong, they put a bunch of people in a room, bunch of executives in the room, and they literally ask the question, why did this happen 5 times in a row? Okay, so why did this happen? Well, because of X, Y, and Z. Okay, why did X, Y, and Z happen? Well, because of X, Y, and Z. Okay, why did that happen? If you ask the question why 5 times, you get to something close to the root cause of the dilemma, of the problem. Now, will you ask that about why you want to change in life? Sometimes, by the way, the layers, you go deeper, it gets like sometimes hard to look at, but there's a good book I always shout out. It's called Man's Search for Meaning. It's by Viktor Frankl. If you haven't heard of it, just go read some excerpts. If you're not a reader, go listen to the audiobook. It says a man or a woman who figures out the why in life, the how takes care of itself. So once you know why you're doing something, the how you do it, man, it's easy. It's cupcake. Don't let external pressure define how you want to live. External pressure is what? Society. Society tells you to do X, Y, and Z, but you know in your heart that's not what you want to do. Fuck it. Do it. Do what you know is true to you. And I'm not saying anything destructive or harmful to yourself. Like society says, don't do drugs. And I'm like, well, I want to do drugs. I'm not saying that. If society's telling you, hey, go get a formal college education degree, but you're like, hey, I have a passion for art and music, and that's what I want to do in my life, go do it. You know what I mean? Do whatever the heck your passion is. Whenever I say like feedback and suggestions to go do something, it's never anything reckless, my friends, ever. I hope you guys know that, with adolescents, I got to be careful to tell them, hey, go do whatever you want to do, because, they'll take that the wrong way. But social approval is creating unprecedented levels of anxiety and depression. And here's what that means, guys. When I say guys and girls, we are more in a fish tank, like a fishbowl, than ever before because of social media. So all of us are connected to social media. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not a social media basher, hater, anything like that. It has its pros and it has its cons, but we're constantly connected to the lives or the exterior presentation of the lives of others. So you are constantly looking at someone else through the lens of social media and automatically saying, I'm either better than or less than that, right? Social approval becomes really dangerous over here, really important over here, because now you're constantly in a state of either I'm good enough or I'm not good enough. And guess which one we tend to pick as drug addicts, alcoholics, my friends? The latter. We walk around the world feeling inadequate, less than, not good enough, not blank enough. And if you keep doing that, it becomes something dangerous. So external inspiration can be a great motivator. So Jim Rohn says you can either become motivated through through two things. The first one is through inspiration. So you can watch me talk right now, and some of you might be like, you know what? He said a couple things that inspired me. I'm going to go take some action today. So you hear something external, it inspires you, you go take action on it. And just for the record, I listen to inspiring things every single morning to start my day. Some of you might think that's corny or kind of gimmicky, but sometimes corny and gimmicky things work. They definitely allow us to change our mindset. When I listen to people that are super successful telling me how they start their day, and I'm like, all right, well, if I don't start my day like them, the odds of me becoming like them is just that much less. I've implemented that in my life. But the other one comes from desperation, by the way. So motivation either comes from inspiration or desperation. And I don't care which way you get it. I don't care if you get desperate enough that you're like, okay, I'm motivated now, or you get inspired enough. The inspiration doesn't hurt as bad. It actually feels a little bit better. I don't want to get desperate every day to do shit. But the desperation version works too. Hence, they call it the gift of desperation. The gift of desperation, when you open it up, inside that box, there's this key called the key to willingness. You pick up that key in the gift box of desperation, and you have the willingness to do anything in life, achieve anything in life. Ask anyone that's been desperate enough, including when you want to go pick up your dope. You think you get all creative and resourceful and shit for no reason? You're so desperate because you don't want to be dope sick that you become like the most willing human being in the world. How many of you guys and girls have taken trips that were a little bit farther than your geographic range just to go pick something up? How many of you guys sat outside of of a street or a house or a window, waiting a few extra hours longer than you thought you wait there? How many of you went and forged checks or stole things and use things, use people a little bit more than it's your comfort zone or your natural personality, right? So don't underestimate desperation, man. And I hope you don't have to get too desperate in your sobriety, but if you do, sometimes we become really resourceful. The next one is called upgrade your mindset and upgrade your habits. So your mindset is the lens through which you see the world. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your expectations shape your life. They filter the choices you make. So I always say upgrade your mindset, upgrade your life. Some of us, some of you, some of society, they have really, 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 really poor mindsets, man. I'm talking about weak. They got some weak mindsets. And if you're wondering, well, where do we get our mindsets from? Here's the answer. Tell me what you did yesterday, last week, last month, last year. Show me where you went yesterday, last week, last month, last year. Tell me what you watched yesterday, last week, last month, last year. Tell me who you hung out with yesterday, last week, last month, last year. What situations, what surroundings, what circumstances did you put yourself into last week, last month, last year? Tell me what you binge watched on Netflix last week, last month, last year. We as human beings are a byproduct of what we do, where we go, who we hang out with, what we see, what we hear on a day to day basis. So if you got a weak mindset, it has nothing to do with you being weak. Man, you're stronger than your wildest beliefs. You are so capable of shit in life that you have no idea how capable you are. Okay. But if you're walking around weak and deflated and you're walking around with a weak mindset, it has to do with how you're living your life, not with who you are. Right? You got to separate those two things. None of you are weak. Any human being that's ever experienced trauma, addictions, grief and loss, loss of identity, which every single one of you, by the way, have, and you're still sitting here right now, tells me one thing: you're not weak. You are resilient. You know how to persevere through life. You're tough as shit. So all of those characteristics exist inside of you. If your mindset's weak now, maybe you got to examine how you're living your life. Maybe examine how you're spending your days, how you're spending your time, who you're spending it with, what you're doing, what you're not doing. The answers are there. Ask the why. Why is my mindset weak? You got to ask that question. Carl Jung, which is someone that I love. If you don't know much about Carl Jung, he's like the father of psychology. He says the most important question anyone can ask is this: what myth am I living? What myth am I living? How powerful is that? You think that you are someone that you're not. You think that you're capable of things or not capable of things, and you're wrong. You think that you'll always be this way, and you're completely wrong. These are all myths. The truth is you're gonna find the truth when you actually start seeking and asking those whys. You got to stop telling yourself stupid stories that aren't real. You know, so many of us create the way we view the world as children. Like when you're 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, maybe there was abuse. Maybe someone left you. Maybe there was a divorce in your house. Maybe there was financial fear. Maybe there was a catastrophe or something that happened growing up. And you allow yourself you allow that 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old to shape the way you view the world as a grown-ass adult. As a grown adult, you allow that kid to come up with what you think as an adult is real about life. I challenge you guys this: if you have a kid, maybe you can go talk to your kid, but if you don't have a kid, if you ever have a conversation with a 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old about life, right? Like just some random kid. Hey, tell me what you think about life. What would you do in this situation? How would you treat people in this situation, right? Do you think you're really going to take their feedback and suggestion and advice to heart and use it for the rest of your life? I know the answer is no, but guess what people do? They take their own feedback and advice as a child they created in a distorted version of reality, rooted in trauma, rooted in pain, rooted in fear, rooted in anxiety, and they live their life through that lens. That's why he's saying, what myth am I living? Like me, I had a really rageaholic, angry, just abusive father, right? And he really scared the fuck out of me, man. And he wouldn't drink a lick of alcohol. When he would come home, you didn't know what was coming home. When he would turn the door, you didn't know which version of him was going to be there. And this guy didn't drink, right? He was just a rageaholic. And I got scared. I got fearful. Had a lot of anxiety. I was just like always on edge. I was hyper vigilant, right? And as a 23, 24, 25-year-old, I was still living like that child. You know how absurd that is? Because I never allowed myself to heal and find out why the hell am I living this way. And once I healed and recovered, he changed in life. You know, he grew out of that shit, because people, by the way, parents change life. Parents change throughout the process of life too. I know some of you might not believe that. You might be like, they're too hard-headed. But the same way you look back 10 years in your life, just look back 10 years in your life. Are the things that you believe the same 10 years ago? Are who you are, is it the same? Your life circumstance? Have you gone through more experiences? Have you had more ups and downs and laughs and cries in the past 10 years? Okay, if you have, guess what? So have they. So have parents. So have other human beings, man. Like, everybody's constantly turning into something different. But we can't allow our mindset as a child to dictate the way we live our life. So upgrade your mindset, upgrade your habits. Think about an iPhone 1 when it came out. iPhone 1, iPhone 2, that kind of stuff. Would that work right now? No. Even your newest iPhones, right? When there's a new upgrade, you have to upgrade it. It just kind of gives you no choice sometimes. I mean, you could choose not to, but the battery will get drained really quickly. So even a piece of technology needs to be upgraded. So you don't think your mind does? You know, the most complicated freaking organism, mechanism, world, universe, galaxy that exists within this, you know, that we've ever studied. You don't think that ever needs to be upgraded? So don't underestimate upgrading your mindset. The next one is you have to go slow to go fast. So all of you are in a standstill right now. You're trying to make changes in your life, and sorry, my cat's going a little crazy. All you guys are in a standstill in your life. You know, you just got out of a big car accident, which is what we define addiction. Addiction is a car accident that damages the psychology, the emotions, the physical body. It damages all of the major, our sensories, you know, the way we see, the way we hear, the way we smell. It just, man, it does a number on us. You know, addiction does a number on us. And it doesn't have to be just addiction to fentanyl, guys, by the way. Alcohol is the king of all drugs, you know. Alcohol is the equal opportunity destroyer. You put alcohol inside of your bloodstream, it goes equally to all of your organs: hair, skin, nails, the kidney, the liver, the heart, the brain. It goes in the bloodstream, and just like kind of, ethanol is a poison. So it poisons the human body. Ethanol actually is a poison, by the way. It's not some fancy drink that people drink on a beach in Mexico, you know. It's a poison. So if you're in the early stages, you got to go slow to go fast. You know, Russ, my favorite rapper, he says direction is more important than speed. Direction is more important than speed. So some of you are just thinking, hey, how am I going to get the hell out of this stage and go to the next stage? But you're going in the wrong direction sometimes. You know, you're just going to end up going somewhere, but it's going to be the wrong place. So direction is more important than speed. And you got to create this, they call these things called MVCs, which is minimal viable change. You just got to make little changes over an extended period of time. For example, if you know you can't run 1 mile, right? Go walk 10 minutes. If you know you can't run 1 mile, which a lot of you, when you first get into this world, you can't, go walk 10 minutes. And walk 10 minutes for that entire week. The next week, go walk 20 minutes and walk 20 minutes for that entire week. The next week, walk 30 minutes and walk 30 minutes for that entire week. And then just go back and just do half jogging, half walking. And I promise you this, I'm not making this up. By the end of 2 months, you will be running a mile in 10 minutes. If you follow that guide that I told you, a mile in 10 minutes, and you're like, well, there's no fucking way I can do that. First of all, you've never tried, right? The last time you tried running a mile was when you were in junior high or high school, and they took you in the track and they said, go run a mile, you know, and you're like, well, fuck, I just got off the couch and I was smoking all this weed and I can't run a mile, right? So get up and go give it a try. Or, you know, some of you say, hey, all these counselors are telling us, hey, I got to meditate for my brain because I got so much anxiety, but I can't meditate. Well, shit, man, you've never tried. Maybe you've tried in a rehab setting and you're like, all right, well, there's 37 people sitting around me and it's really hard for me to meditate. Go sit on a park bench, Go sit at the beach, go sit in nature, go look at stars and close your eyes for a minute. I know you can do that. Do it again, do it again, do it again. Eventually you'll get to 5 minutes. Eventually you'll get to 10 minutes. And then come back and tell me if you can or can't do it. You know, people say they can't do shit without even trying. It's so frustrating. You know, people always say they can't do something and they never even try. People say they can't read books or they can't write anything. They never try. People say they can't go to school. They never really try going to school, you know? People say they can't get sober. Sometimes they don't try. They just go through the motions. So you got to go slow to go fast. And don't obsess with the outcome. You know, the outcome is none of our responsibility at first, man. All you got to do is just take small steps until you get there. Number 4, you got to replace existing habits with new ones. This one I love. Bruce Lee. If you don't know who Bruce Lee is, go look at some of his old videos and just learn about Bruce Lee. He's dope as shit. He says it's not the daily increase, but a daily decrease. Hack away at the inessentials. So what happens a lot of times, guys, is all of you are trying to add so much shit to your life, right? You're trying to add this and add this and add this and add this. Sometimes it's good enough to just keep it the way it is and start subtracting from your life. Start subtracting the few hours you watch something and binge watch something that's completely fucking useless. Start subtracting the amount of time that you're sleeping. Start subtracting the amount of time that you're spending out with people just talking about war stories and how much fentanyl they fucking put up their body. Start subtracting the amount of time that you are doing things that aren't having you head to the direction of your freaking goals. Start subtracting and see what happens. Something wonderful. It creates the space, the room, the ability to actually get shit done. Like people just add and add and add, and they don't subtract. And guess what happens? They get burned out. They're still up till 3 a.m. because they have to watch this one fucking season on Netflix. And in the morning, they're trying to add all this recovery stuff and add all this stuff. And they show up there and they're exhausted. They're tired, right? They just can't do it. And guess what happens to people that get tired, exhausted, they get burned out, and they freaking make a U-turn and go back to where they came from because it was too hard. And they blame the process instead of blaming themselves. Instead of taking responsibility of self, like how the hell am I living my life that is causing this? You got to ask those whys. And discipline is something you got to have. Last night we had a basketball game. At halftime, I was telling the kids that, hey, yo, discipline, this is what it comes down to. Here's what discipline means, is doing what you know you need to do even when you don't want to do it. Discipline is an act of self-love. So many of you think that being disciplined is a negative connotation, like, oh, I don't want to be disciplined in life. Well, being disciplined means I'm bad. No, man. If you discipline yourself, it means you actually give a shit about yourself because you do the things that you don't want to do even when you know you need to do them. Show me someone that's really disciplined and I'll show you someone that loves the fuck out of themselves, right? It's not someone that's harsh on themselves or mean on themselves or anything like that. The next one, there's only a couple more, so bear with me. It's get an accountability partner. Accountability is the glue that bonds commitment to results. So a lot of you are trying to have certain results in your life. There's certain things that you're trying to achieve in your life and you're going about it on your own. Statistics and science say that you will probably fail. Straight up. And this is not my Parham's opinion. This is not me just saying, oh, you're going to, I wish failure upon you. I'm just saying that people that take a journey on their own, right? A journey of transformation, a journey of healing, a journey of change on their own. At some point in that process and some point in that journey, they tend to experience doubt. They tend to experience what the hell is the point of this? They tend to get tired. And in that moment, they just give up. Accountability, an accountability partner, someone that goes the way with you, that has your back with you, will help you get through those times. If you've ever had a gym partner, for example, you know that the odds of you making it to the gym with that gym partner are significantly higher than when you're just laying on your couch saying, fuck, I got to go to the gym. Same thing happens in the recovery world, in the sobriety world. Same thing happens in the academia world, right? A lot of you have tried school before on your own. And when you don't want to, turn in a paper, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that. You're like, fuck it, I'm not going to try. Have a couple accountability partners, some study partners, people that you can meet up with, talk to, hold each other accountable and see what happens. You know, the farthest a lot of us go for study buddies is trying to find Adderall on Craigslist is pretty much as far as you guys go. So to find an accountability partner is a really big deal, man. You got to have one. Having an accountability partner takes your success rate up to about 90%. That's an A, man, 90% in life just by having accountability to someone. And this also comes with mental health. When you're not feeling good, man, tell people. When you're scared, tell people. When you're angry, tell people. Stop holding that shit in. It's going to kill you. Number 6, design the right environment. The environment, what I'm talking about here is not only just physical environment, but it is also the psychological, emotional, and spiritual environment. You must learn how to control your clutter, or your clutter will control you. Okay. And it's not just physical items. So I'm not just talking about the way your room looks or the way sober living looks or your closet looks. Clutter can happen at the level of thoughts. All the thoughts that you have in your head that are usually related to things that you haven't accomplished yet. It's your unfinished business, tasks you need to do, phone calls you need to make, places you got to go. When you don't do those, it creates clutter. It's like sitting in a room with just a bunch of shit all over the place. You ever see the show Hoarders? Some of your minds are like the show Hoarders. Some of you are walking around with a brain that is stuffed with crap that needs to get cleaned up. Stuff with crap that needs to get cleaned up. So be deliberate with who, what, where you bring into your life. Be deliberate with the thoughts you bring into your life. Like once you clean that shit out, just know that you can control what goes in and what comes out. You know, this is some important stuff. I mean, I share with you guys all the time that I'm a minimalist. And, you know, you look around and yeah, aesthetically, everything's a minimalist. And then my attire is always minimalist. But I'm telling you, the same way my closet and my possessions and my home and all that stuff looks like, it's the same way in here in my mind. Shit's clutter free, man. Clutter free because I clean it up. I don't bring junk in. It lets me be optimized. It lets me be, you know, it lets me have this level of passion when talking to you guys right now. I'm not thinking about 1,000 things. I'm thinking about you. I'm focused on you. I'm focused on this moment. And that comes from designing the right environment. And the last one is just take one habit at a time. Please, to God, hear this one out in recovery. Some of you get clean and sober, and all of a sudden, the 13 things in your life that you've been neglecting for the past 20 years, you want to get them all done this week. Just chill out. You know, you got to learn how to say no. Steve Jobs was big on focusing how to say no. And never underestimate your inner strength. So I told you guys how powerful I think you all are, but never overestimate yourself either. So what does that mean? Like, for example, learning one language at a time versus learning 3 languages at a time. I know nobody does that, but some of you are trying to learn 3 languages at one time, and you're wondering why you're getting confused, why you're stumbling on your words, why you don't understand, why you're getting frustrated. Just focus on one damn thing. Do one thing, do it well, complete the task, and then move on, right? Really important stuff. And once you feel like it's becoming a habit, then you move on to the next. And when is it a habit? Is when you wake up in the morning and you don't have to think or try or do anything, you just do it. That's when you've created a habit in your life. When you just get up and just do something, right? Without even having to push or pull or anything like that. And it's a wonderful way to go. So my little quick homework that I have for you guys, and I'm going to hear from you, is what is one area in your life that you want to make a change in? So this is something you do on your own. What's one area in your life that you want to make a change in? Identify who you are making that change for. Is it for yourself? Is it for others? And then you got to find a way to own it. Make it yours. Explore your mindset in that area. So remember where we get our mindset from. You got to see what my mindset is made up of. Examine your current habits in that area. Like just, you got to get to thine own self, be true, man. On a pen and paper, get honest and write down what your habits are. If they suck, write down my habits suck, right? If they're weak, write down my mindset's weak. And then you got to go slow to go fast. So just pick a few things you can do to get in that right direction. I know we want it all at once, right? Like if somebody wants a certain physical body, they want it all at once, not knowing that it might take a year to get there. After a month, they don't get there and they get discouraged. But you got to realize that. Get an accountability partner immediately. Someone in your sober living, someone in your sober network, someone at home that you freaking trust. Hit them up and say, hey, this is a journey I want to go on. I need you to keep me accountable. People love having a purpose. People love like, oh shit, yeah, this person wants me to help them be accountable. I could do that. Maybe they can help me be accountable in an area too. Design your optimal environment, clear the clutter, people, places, and things. If there's a lot of clutter going on in your life, man, clean the shit out of it. It's not doing you any well. They're just dead weight. They're holding you back. One goal at a time. Don't go on to something else till you've accomplished your goal. So let me turn off my little